Alright, we are recording again, and we just did House of Dynamite. Moving on to, what did we got here? What's that? The Snowwalker. Oh, yeah. The Snowwalker is an old film. Came out in 2003, but it looks like it's from the 90s. Not really sure what to say about this one. I liked it because, again, I love kind of nature. Maybe because I'm always glued to my screen. I crave the natural beauty of outside this artificial world. Anyway, so Snowwalker is about a sort of American delivery person. I don't know if he was from the military, but anyway, he comes across an econ woman. I don't know how you say it. Like those indigenous tribes in Alaska, Inuk. That's how you pronounce it, Inuk. And she's sick, and he tries to fly her to I guess a medical facility to the nearest, sort of place that he knows. But the plane crashes, and during the whole course of the film, she's kind of level-headed. She's calm in the head. She's cool-headed, but like he's kind of like freaking out. He's acting unstable. But then during the course of the movie, his character kind of matures, becomes a bit more aware of his surroundings, and eventually he does learn how to survive. And so it's a very simple survivalist movie. There's not much of setting except the desolate sort of wilderness of Alaska, which I liked. And there are some scenes with Americans like European descent and Americans of like indigenous descent in there. But I'm glad I watched it. These older movies I'm reviewing, I never really would have watched them unless someone recommended it to me. And luckily, like the ones I do see have been pretty good. It kind of depends on who you take your recommendations from, I guess. Oh, and it's Canadian. I didn't know this was another Canadian production. Nice. I don't know why that's nice. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, Snowwalker, survival in wilderness Alaska. There are a few movies like that. Like there's one about the men who are stuck in the wilderness with that sort of grizzly bear that stalks them. I forget. I think Sean Connery was in that one. I forgot what the name of that one is. Like there are a few Alaskan survivalist movies. This one is definitely more simple to follow, easy to follow. Yeah. Okay, moving on to The Boy in the Woods. I don't know if this one's too worth going into, but why not? Alright, The Boy in the Woods is about a Jewish boy in World War II in Europe who hides in the woods because his family, or I don't know, yeah. Oh, he escaped a camp. He went to some family in some cabin, but they didn't want to risk him or risk themselves, so the patriarch of that house put him in the woods nearby and told him to like stay there. It's pretty far. I make it sound like that he's close by, but not like far from the house. So the movie is about him surviving by himself in the woods. It sounds like a boring, simple story, and a lot of the time it kind of is. I'm not gonna lie. But I guess it's interesting because it's a Jewish boy hiding in the like it's a boy hiding in the woods because of just safety from other human beings, just to keep himself safe. Because he could get out of the woods if he wants to, but he can't, even though he wants to. Yeah. That's kind of the whole movie. I noticed there was an influx of sort of Jewish perspective movies in World War II recently, and I kind of appreciate them. Like, there are some good ones from the past, I guess, like The Pianist, with starring Adrian Brody. I think that was Spielberg. No. Scorsese? I forget who directed that. I don't know. Yeah, but these ones are coming out. I even though they don't have the classic iconic feel of those older Jewish films that most people are familiar with in the cinema in the world of cinema. These new ones definitely bring like kind of fresher perspectives, like more grounded, like realistic takes, I think, on it. Speaking of which, other two films about Jewish people from the same time out again, this influx of these films, but these are good ones. The Brutalist, an immigrant story, an American immigrant story about this guy, Adrian Brody, playing another Jewish immigrant This time, an engineer who comes to America. So, this film is mainly more about the architecture, brutalist architecture. Yeah, it's a real type of architecture. Intimidating, brutal-looking architecture that's like really expansive, big, in your face, supposed to like leave you with an impact of like maybe shock and awe. I don't know. But that's the type of engineer that this character plays. And the movie, the way it's filmed is like that. Like, this film is... The camera work in this film, the cinematography is filmed in like a brutal type of way. Everything looks kind of big and immense and intimidating and brutal. But it does a decent job of connecting like the characters to that imagery. So it's not like you're out of touch with what's happening because everything looks so expansive. Like, I would say watch the first 5 minutes of this film. This film has one of the best like intro sequences I've seen in a movie. And if you like it, continue watching it. If you don't like it, then don't continue watching the film, because those first 5 minutes is basically giving you like, okay, this is the feel of the film. And I was kind of all for it. Again, like, modern movies now are not like the typical movies from like the 40s or 50s or 60s. Movies now, you know, they can come in all types of forms, filmed in different ways, talk about different things that are, you know, a lot of times more relatable to more people than films before. What else can I say about The Brutalist? Even as a movie, it's like a solid movie. Plot-wise, character-wise, it sounds so vague. If any of that sounds interesting to you, check it out. If not, don't watch it. Alright, next up is The World Will Tremble. That's my third. I didn't even plan to do this, but just... The World Will Tremble is another film about the Jewish experience during the Holocaust. Now, this one is interesting. The World Will Tremble refers to the fact that nobody apparently knew about these concentration camps and death camps that Nazis were installing to rid the Jews in their area. The World Will Tremble is about how some Jews who were able to escape wanted to tell the world, like, this is what they're doing to us. Like, this is actually happening. This isn't like hypothetical. This isn't fake. Like, this stuff is actually happening. They're actually like gassing our people to death, and organizing us, torturing us, all that stuff. Yep. And this is a cool movie because the format of this movie kind of takes place within, I believe, the scope of one day. Like, the morning, we're talking to you like you're a child. The noon, the afternoon, the night. It might go into the next morning too. I'm not sure. But the movie does a good job of having the character naturally go into different experiences of the Jewish experience during like the rise of the culture of the death camps and the gas chambers. Seeing people in labor, doing manual labor, right, under Nazi rule. Seeing people perform and dance in humiliating ways for Nazi soldiers. Seeing some get tortured by them, shot and killed by them, lied and manipulated by them, by the Nazi soldiers. And then even how the system for the gas chambers, at least at the start, how immature it was. How casual the German soldiers were, the Nazi soldiers were comfortable with it. So again, like, yeah, it's like been there, done that. The Holocaust, yeah, we've seen movies about that, but this one does it in a more, I think, direct, like, in your face, like, relatable way that other movies weren't able to do that. It's unique and I like it. I recommend it. Alright, next up, The Expanse. Let's go into another show. The Expanse is the type of sci-fi show I was looking for a long time. A more realistic, grounded sci-fi show that's kind of in vein with sci-fi shows I've seen in the past for mainstream audiences. I'm talking about like Star Wars or what's like the one that's always compared to the one with Starfleet and the Enterprise. What's the name of that show? whatever. So The Expanse is 4 seasons. So it's kind of limited. Like they're like, and this is the whole show. Like as far as I know, there aren't any spin-offs or anything. So this is its own contained story. It's a long time. It's like 10 episodes per season, 4 seasons, like 45 minutes each episode. But if you're into sci-fi, you're looking for something grounded and something futuristic. Like the sci-fi elements in this show are kind of realistic in a way. I wish I knew more about science to back up that statement, but like, this is the future where Mars has been colonized, the asteroid belt is kind of being used to exploit workers, to have people work there to get the minerals out of them, and Earth is controlled by the UN. Like, this is really kind of like well thought out, like realistic, like decades, centuries in the future, like what humanity as a species will be like. And I was worried about the ending of the show because I was like, wow, they brought up a lot of like interesting things. Like each season is like its own story. Like they bring up new elements that they follow through with the whole season. Like each season does that. Like each season really builds up on the previous one. So that's great. And the finale, like season 4, episode 10, I'm really glad that they didn't like kind of mess it up because I was like, wow, this is such a great show for someone like me, and I was hoping it would end on a good note, and it did. And kind of like the show itself, it ended on a bittersweet, but mostly, I would say, satisfying, fulfilling note. If not happy note, but like a fulfilling note, and it makes sense to the sort of thematic elements that the show was always kind of pushing in your face the whole time. Similar to another show I'll bring up soon. So The Expanse is definitely like a 5 out of 5. Like, you know, I like grounded sci-fi, sort of realistic, like, and especially human driven, like, shows or films, where nobody's really like good or bad. Like we I guess we have protagonists here, characters you follow, like for all 4 seasons, but you know, they're really flawed. They're selfish people, and this show is kind of depressing to me because it does really explore a lot, like pessimism and negativity, but yeah, since that is almost like a really heavy part of the show in many parts of it, it does easily bring to light moments of hope and optimism for the human race, and you know. It's like if you're into like moral ambiguity and like a lot of people being put in like more like situations that test their morality, like this one does that too. But anyway, yeah, I just like the action. Again, I like the sci-fi or even just straight up like science related elements in this show. Like what would it be like to have like colonies floating in space? What would colonization on Mars look like? What would the culture of that be? Like socially, like it's great. It's good stuff. Moving on to Alice in Borderland season 3. So I did watch the first 2, and they are their own contained story. Alice in Borderland season 1 and 2. I think I'm pretty sure are based on the source material. And the way season 2 ended, I just loved the way it ended. I didn't even know where the show was going. I didn't know the source material, but Alice in Borderland season 1 and 2, as a self-contained story, that was pretty good. I liked it. And I felt like, okay, there's really no need for a third, but they did. But I liked it. Season 3 had no, like, obligation to exist, but we have it, and you can only watch it if you've seen the first 2. Like, this is definitely, like, an extension of, like, it has the feel of a spin-off. Like, okay, we finished the main story, but let's milk it a bit. But if we're gonna milk it, like, let's put some thought into it. Because seasons 1 and 2 of Borderland are kind of really sort of fantastical anyway, and the reasoning behind what happens in those shows is a bit far-fetched. So if you have that open mind for those 2 and go into season 3 with that same mentality, you might. It's just kind of the same, like, in terms of like tolerance for like how much sort of imagination or creativity you're willing to go. Anyway, I give them credit for it. I like the direction they went with season 3. You don't really have to watch it, but if you liked season 1, 2, sort of, then yeah, I think you should check it out, because season 3 explores what season 1 and 2 had, but in a more philosophical and religious approach, and towards those events of the previous seasons. And it really does wrap up. Again, there's that feeling of finality when season 3 ends. I don't think they're making season 4. I feel like they've done all they could with this concept. So again, I liked season 2 and how it ended. Like, it made sense to me. It came out of nowhere, but season 3 also came out of nowhere. But I don't really mind how it ended. I usually don't like shows about like life or death people, like life or death situations people have to play like to win. But I don't know. This one has like a weird, I don't know, like place in my heart. I only reserve like game shows like that just for, I don't know. Maybe because it's popular. I don't know. I want to get in with the culture. Kind of like Squid Games. Moving on to Troll 2. Troll 2 is a Norwegian production. I like to explore Scandinavian, specifically Norwegian film from time to time, even Finnish films, because I'm like a third or fourth Norwegian, so I do have like pride when there's some entertainment from that part of the world that I'm able to reach or access, and watch. Troll 2 is obviously a sequel to the movie Troll. Troll 2 is like Troll 1, but like in sequel fashion. It kind of has more random, direct humor. The CGI fantasy sequences are a bit more bizarre and creative. The characters are a bit more, I think, diverse in terms of their backgrounds. I liked it more than the first one because there's just more of a justification for kind of more insane scenarios and concepts when it comes to trolls in Norway in this film compared to the first one. But again, like, this is like one of those niche sort of demographics. Like, I like it because I like creature feature movies that are somewhat thought out and have some sort of important thematic elements to it. I like Norway. I like cinema and film and just the love and passion for filmmakers to make a project something as kind of ridiculous as this. But if you don't, then don't watch it. I'll put up some kind of poster up for it. This is how it looks like, Troll 2. Yeah, there are 2 trolls in this one. At least. Spoilers! Alright, next up is going to be Man in the High Castle. Based off of, I believe, novel by Philip Dick. Yeah. I'm familiar. I've learned about him through a sci-fi class I took in college. That was an awesome class. Philip K. Dick is one of those classic American authors. He authored Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which inspired the Blade Runner movie from the 80s, which inspired Blade Runner 2049 that came out, how many years ago? Recently. So he made this novel, and I watched the first episode of this Man High Castle maybe like a couple of years ago, but I mean to finish it because the concept is just so cool. Basically, this is an alternate universe where the Axis powers in World War II won, and the U.S. is split from the Rockies going to the Atlantic, being controlled by Nazi Germany, and the Rockies to the Pacific coast being controlled by Japan. And the Rockies is a sort of neutral buffer zone where no one really has control over, where rebellious factions and the U.S. reside. The series is about how different characters begin to access glimpses through film, like those old round film reels that you play on those projectors. And these film reels show different universes. One where like the US, the Allies won, like our universe, obviously. And some people could literally transport themselves in those timelines. I wouldn't say like this is a perfect concept that's explained perfectly in the show. I wouldn't even say it's a perfect show, but I just like the concepts behind it and the ideas and a show and doing it with this much high value, like production value, with really good actors and actresses and interesting storylines that, of course, you're going to the drama of what's like to be under Nazi or Japanese occupation in the U.S. as an American. And you also follow the lives of the Nazi soldiers, of the Japanese soldiers, of American rebellious factions, and the underground movements, of which like become more interesting and complicated as the series goes forward. Like, it really, it's there's nothing like it. And you gotta be into like history, you gotta be into World War II. If you're not, don't watch this. I don't think you'd like it. Don't waste your time on this. Like, I don't mean that in a cynical, sarcastic way, but like, yeah. And if you're into sci-fi, you gotta like this. Like a sci-fi history World War II show. Check it out. Man in the High Castle. Small things like these. Oh, love this one. I love this one. Small things like these. One of those films. Two reasons why I like it. One, three things like why I like it. One, the acting in it and the setting. Like, and by this I mean like as a movie, as an overall movie, it's engaging from beginning to end. Number two, what it brings up. What's the movie about? It's about how do you say it? Ireland's Magdalene laundries, which I didn't even know what I didn't know what that was until I saw this movie. Three, how the movie ends. The movie like connects the sort of mainstream appeal of the show, which is like this everyday guy, father. He's not rich, but he makes enough to support his daughters and his wife, and they're humble but like happy home for the most part. Um, and it also ties in like the I'll say the issue or the existence of Ireland's Magdalene homes or laundries, which are where fallen women, as it was termed back then, go to, almost like and they're sort of secluded and isolated in these. How do you explain it? Someone explain this to me online. You know what? No, I got this. I got this. Basically like a boarding house, but like a prison almost. Like the girls and young women there cannot leave. It's like women who have been rejected from society, from their families, mostly for unjust reasons. I would say. Like this is a very like I know Ireland's a very Catholic country, for better or for worse. And I think in this case, these Magdalene laundries is an aspect of for the worse. Living in a deeply Catholic society, religious society, where there are institutions like this that treat young women like this because it's like they don't know what to do with them or nobody wants them. I don't know. It's a wild, crazy, personally stupid system. So anyway, yeah. So this guy, you all know this guy. What's his name? Killian, whatever. He gets exposed to it through his work, and he wants to do something about it. And the ending is such a great ending. The ending saved the movie for me. I mean, I liked it already. I mean, the ending made me love the movie beyond just liking it. Check it out. Small things like these. All right, how much time do we have left? We're at 22 minutes. Let's go, go, go. To Dead Man Wake Up. Yeah, the third Knives Out by Ryan Johnson. Dead Man Wake Up is probably ranked up there with the original Knives Out for my favorite Knives Out murder mystery movie. I mean, like these are basically modern murder mystery movies. We don't really see too much of those, but like in this sort of like entertaining, dramatic fashion, like I guess old classic murder mystery films, which I've never seen. I don't have. I'm not really interested in seeing those, but I like Ryan Johnson, the director, and I like the actor who plays the priest here in the priest's story, like the main character in this one, his journey, and he's the main character. The detective, who's usually the main character in these Knives Out films, is almost like a side character, but the main side character, I guess. This film is a great exploration on faith and religion, and talking about it now, like, it kind of makes me realize how religious I am. Because the film has the obvious religion of Catholicism in it, because the whole story takes place on the premises of a church, a Catholic church. But everyone has their own faith, their own religion. Whether it's, like, Catholicism or even, like, it's about the stories that people hold on to, like, for a long time, and that kind of shapes what they believe in. Like, faith comes in all forms, like whether it's a traditional religion or just whatever life experience, or how your family treats you, how you treat your family, your friends treat you, and vice versa. What type of different stories you've heard growing up, what maybe things that left a big impact on you when you were young that you hold on to your whole life. Like, that's one version of faith, and that. And I have thought about that for years. Like, religion, everyone has their own religion, their own idea of it, even if it's like a branch off of like a traditional one, like everyone knows just Catholicism. But this movie just does a great job of exposing how storytelling is really powerful, even though it is the main character is very Catholic, and I'm not very Catholic right now. but it doesn't really matter. He's just a great character to follow during this mystery. Great film. Check it out once. It is kind of long, 3 hours. And it's one of those films you gotta like watch every detail. Like if you really want to get the full experience, you gotta like watch every detail. But if not, it does a decent job. I'm not gonna say perfect, but decent job for those who just like kind of want to like just like watch a film and not think too much about it. But this is a thinker, one of those thinker films. All right, next up, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. You know, sometimes I want to be a kid again and watch something, you know, with animated, colorful, fun. Reminds me of my childhood. A little bit more, just imaginative and creative. And I forgot how far animation has gone. Like, this kind of reminds me of watching, like, those new Spider-Man, animated films, like, third one that's supposed to... Oh, Into the Spider-Verse films. The animation in this Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is really good. And with that animation, I think they're able to like, create more creative sequences, exciting and funny situations, but in a more fantastical way, but yet looking like it's natural and part of the story. Like I think there's a lot of animated content out there that's not really imaginative for like younger people, but I think this is a good one. This is a good film. I enjoyed this one. I've only seen it once. Don't plan to watch it again. But yeah, the animation is better than I thought. The visual storytelling, that's how I'm gonna word it. Just how like different things connect on the screen. Again, it's just like you can do that with animation. Different, like how the perspectives of different characters and what they see, how easily it could kind of be on screen at the same time, and us as viewers able to process it and understand what's going on. Yeah, there were some creative people behind this film. And I appreciate that. All right, good film. Moving on to Harriet. Harriet, like that other film I talked about on the last video. Never mind, not gonna go into that. You might not see my last video. Harriet is by Harriet Tubman. She helped assist slaves escape from their masters and put them in a place where they have more freedom than where they were at before. This film is a little too dry for me at times, but that's just sometimes. That's a slight criticism. For the most part, this film is engaging from beginning to end. I learned a lot about Harriet Tubman. I didn't know that when she was able to escape, she had the choice to stay up in the north where she had more freedom. But she wanted to go back down to the south. Like, she was like, no, I gotta save my family and friends. Like, she chose to do this. And it kind of... And another, like, the theme of this movie is kind of confidence, because she's trying to instill confidence into slaves and tell them, like, you can be free, like, it's possible. We weren't raised to believe it, but it's there. There's a world out there where we're not slaves. And it's not just, like, escaping slavery, but also, like, their physical capabilities. Like, maybe they can't swim across a river to escape, but they do. Oh, see, it's not that hard. Like, it's in you. You can do it. I like the confidence and the sort of, like, the pep talks and the motivational speeches she gives to slaves to get them moving. You know, I mean, slavery comes in all forms, that are psychologically or physically. You know. And also, like, her interactions with people up in the north, how they react to what she's doing. How do they support her? How do they not support her? It's pretty good. Good movie. From 2019. Relatively recent. Alright, next up. Respect. Oh, yeah. So I don't know anything about Aretha Franklin, except that she made that famous Respect song. This is a movie. I want to make sure I got the right movie here. Yeah, okay. So Respect does a good job of, like, just showing her whole life. And I knew nothing about her history. So she did kind of grow up a little wealthy. Her father was a big preacher. And that's kind of where her singing came from, the singing in the church. And she would perform as a kid for other people. And then, yeah, a lot of the movie thematically is about her trying to break away from her father and her to do her own thing. And a lot of it is a relationship with her and her father. So that's kind of like what the movie goes into, thematically again. But yeah, you got all her hits in there. You got R.E.S.P.C.T. in there. It's pretty good. Because I like music. I like I appreciate, I should say, and enjoy gospel music, and that's where how do you say her name? Aretha Franklin's musical interest stems from, and before she goes into like pop, does what she wants to do, and yeah, from breaking away from her father, the movie is also about her trying to make her own voice, an extension of that father-daughter relationship, her own voice, her own music, her own songs, and I think we all agree for the most part she did pretty well at that. Moving on to, if we have time, which we don't. All right, well, take it easy, y'all. Part 3 coming up.